Okay, in this next section, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the slope of the line between 2 points. Now remember, you could actually sketch this. So if we're at 3, 1, that's going to be approximately here. 9, 2 would be here. So notice it's going to be a positive slope. Alright, so that just kind of gives you an idea of what the slope is going to look like. Okay, so what we're going to do, remember, you're going to do y minus y over x minus x. That's just change in y over the change in x. Remember, delta y over delta x. And we're going to do that with each one. Now remember, you have to go in the same order. So here are my y values. Remember, it's x comma y. So I'm going to go y minus y. So that's going to be 1 minus 2 over 3 minus 9. Now make sure you stay in order. 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. 3 minus 9 is a negative 6. A negative over a negative is a positive, so therefore you have a slope of 1 over 6. That means it's a rise of positive 1 and a run of positive 6. And that's where you get that really steep line. Okay? Now, let's go to number 2. Same concept, change in y over change in x. So we're going to do 3 minus. Now remember, it's a negative 1. It's not 3 minus 1, but it's 3 minus the negative 1 over, and we're going to have negative 2 minus 2. So in this case, remember, this is minus a negative is plus a positive, so that's going to equal 4. And negative 2 minus negative 2 is the same as adding a negative 2. So two negative 2's add up to negative 4. Therefore, this reduces down to 1 over negative 1. So my slope is negative 1, or 1 over negative 1, or you can say it's negative 1 over 1, or just negative 1. So either one of these three would work. It means the same thing. But if you have it negative 1 over 1, that means you would go down 1 and to the right 1. If it was 1 over negative 1, that means you would go up 1 and to the left 1. Either way, these mean the same thing, and you would get to the next point. Alright, let's look at the third one. The third one is 6 minus a negative 2 over, and this is 4 minus 0. Well, minus a negative is like plus a positive, so that's going to be 8 over 4, and that reduces to 2 over 1. Notice we don't get it. Now 8 divided by 4 is 2, but 2 is the same as 2 over 1. So that's going to go a rise of 2 or a run of 1. Now one thing I want you to remember is that a negative 2 over a negative 1 is the same as 2 over 1, because a negative over negative is a positive. So if I go up 2 and to the right 1, I can also go down 2 and to the left 1. I know that might sound a little confusing, but when we put it on a graph, let's say if I start from 0, 0, if I go up 2 and to the right 1, I can still go down 2 and to the left 1, and it stays in line. It just makes sense that way. And you'll see later on as we get through more of them. Now, in this one, I'm asking you to find the slope. So you're going to pick either point. It doesn't matter. But remember, you're going to do rise over run. And we're going to do both ways. So if I start at this point here, in order to get to this one, I can go down. So I'm going to do my rise first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's down 4 and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a rise of negative 4 or down negative 4, a run of 6. So that reduces down to negative 2 over 3. You must always reduce it down if you can. Now, check this out. If I take this slope right here and I go from the same point, if I go down 2, 1, 2, 3, I should still get a point on that line. And I go do it again. I'm going to do it again. So down 2, 1, 2, 3. Again, it's a point on the line. So even when you reduce it down, the ratios should be the same. Now, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to start at this point. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a rise of 4. And then to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a run to the left of negative 6. Again, notice these are the same. So this reduces down to, again, negative 2 over 3. Notice I put the negative in the numerator this time. It doesn't matter whether you keep it in the numerator or the denominator. I could actually do this, 2 over negative 3. But really, whenever you have that negative, I actually usually just put it out front. So down 2, right 3, or up 2, left 3. Either way, it depends on where you're going. On this particular problem, I'm going to start at this point, and it's a positive slope because as I go from left to right, the slope increases. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rise of 7, 1, 2, 3, a run of 3. So it's 7 over 3. Now in this particular problem, I've given you a table. So we're going to use the slope. We're going to use this table to find slope. Remember, it's the ratio of change in y over change in x, and that's what we're going to do. So let's look at our x's first. So this is a change of, from 0 to 3 is 3, from 3 to 6 is 3, from 6 to 9 is 3, and from 9 to 12 is 3. So since these are all 3's, I expect these to be the same. Now, as you notice, they're decreasing. So let's check this out. So 82 minus 76, to get, we subtract 6. And now, in order to get from 76 to 70, again, we go down by 6. Now, to go from 70 to 64, again, down by 6. And then from 64 to 58, we're down by 6. Now, notice the ratios, all of these, change in y over change in x. So negative 6 over 3 is a negative 2 or negative 2 over 1. I prefer this one. So down 2 to the right 1. The opposite of that would be to go up 2 and to the left 1. And we'll go back over that later on. Now, these particular problems, these are real world problems. This is the profit from popcorn sales, and the one down below is pizza crust. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find the slope and tell what the slope represents in that particular problem. Okay? So let's look at the first one. Profit from popcorn sales. Notice as your boxes, as you sell more boxes, you're going to make more profit. So now let's look at this. If I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Now be careful. Okay, these are going by 1. So I went up 4 and I went to the right. Now I went 2 units to the right. So make sure these are going by 1s. So 4 over 2. So that means a rise of 4, a run of 2. So a rise of, so it's a profit. So our profit increased by $4 when for every 2 boxes sold. Now we're going to reduce that down to 2 over 1. So that means I make $2 for every 1 box sold. And that's what that means in the context of this problem. Alright, let's move up a little bit. We're going to pizza crust. Now notice the pizza crust is the pizza crust made versus flour used. Okay, now you might be able to switch these, but in this case we're going to use the pizza crust as our x and the flour used as our y. So we're going to go up. Again, we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, so a rise of 3. So 3 cups of flour, that's what that C stands for, versus 1, 2. 2 pizza crusts made. So if I have a rise of 3 and a run of 2, that means I use 3 cups of flour for every 2 pizza crust made. So remember, we're using change in y over change in x. Finally, on this last one, complete the steps to find the slope of the line described. So we're going to use our intercepts, okay, using this equation. We're going to plug in 0 for y, then we're going to plug in 0 for x, and we're going to figure out these points. So now let's do this. So let's plug in 0 for y. So 2x plus 5 times 0 equals 10. This cancels out. I'm left with 2x equals 10. Divide by 2. Yes, I know that's going to equal 5, but yes, you still have to show your work. So when y is 0, x is 5. Now let's use the other one. So if I plug in 0 for x, 5y equals 10. That cancels out, and I get 5y. 5 times something is equal to 10. Yes, I know it's going to be 2, but you still have to show your work. So when x is 0, y is 2. Now, we're going to use the slope formula. So again, like we did the very first one, we're going to do y minus y. So y minus y over x minus x. So in this case, I get 0 minus 2 over 5 minus 0. Please make sure you're going in the same order. We went this way, so we're going to continue going this way. So that becomes negative 2 over 5. So that means I have a negative slope. So I'm going to go down 2 to the right 5. The opposite of that would be to go up 2 to the left 5, and that would give me multiple points.